Hello again to the Chasing Tone podcast fans out there.
All you wild fans.
How's my buddy Block A. Weiland doing?
Oh, Balake is kind of sweaty, like it was last time.
It is hot and sweaty here as well. Quite humid. Weather today was hot and humid with a dose of rain in between. So, not that anyone cares, and guitar gear. So,
and now we come to you live with the weather, traffic weather, news weather, traffic news weather. We got an overturned semi on I-84 eastbound and traffic news weather. Right?
Exactly. That's what we're going to start doing on this podcast. Nothing but weather forecasts for every city in the world.
That sounds pretty good. I mean, well, we got to do traffic. We got to do time. We got to do, traffic, news, weather. That's what we really have to do.
We should start a new podcast, Call it Chasing Traffic or something. I don't know.
Do you think that would work as well as it does on the radio?
I don't know. I don't know because it's not real time, so probably not,
People are like, last week there was a semi that blocked traffic in Guatemala.
Last week you were probably late to work, but that's okay because you're there now.
And you're listening to our sweet, sweet, sultry voices.
So I've got a great topic for you today, Mr. Weiland.
Okay, sweet.
Check this out.
Okay.
12 ways to improve tone and your playing without buying anything.
Wait. Except Wampler pedals. You got to continue to buy those.
Actually, for this one, you won't even need Wampler pedals.
What?
You will, with one caveat. There is one device you will need for sure.
Would that be a guitar?
Well, besides a guitar, yeah.
Uh-oh.
A tuner.
Oh,
so, but
yeah.
But I can't give away all of them just yet. So we'll get into that.
Okay. Well, this should help me because my solution is usually to throw money at it.
And that does help sometimes. Sometimes it does help. But here's what I got, and these are in no particular order. Okay.
Okay. All right. Educate me.
First of all, and this is just a list that me, Jason Wilding, Alex Clay, for those who are on the Facebook Tone Group forum, those fillers. Mm-hmm. This is what we kind of all came up with, right? So my first one is always tune with a good tuner. Parentheses, do not leave that headstock tuner on top of your guitar while you're gigging because it makes you look like an idiot. You can't rock out with a headstock tuner attached to your guitar. So with that caveat, still make sure that you're tuning with a good tuner.
And I love headstock tuners. I think they're fantastic. But do not leave it on while you're performing. Don't do it. Stop.
It's not good. It's hard to sell sexy with a headstock tuner.
Yep, it's very true. Very true.
My next one would be practice without headphones. In other words, with a real guitar amp in a room, and it doesn't have to necessarily be cranked, but just like an amp in the room where you're feeling the sound hitting your body, and not just in your ears. You know what I mean? To me, it just feels more analog. It feels more, I don't know, there's more feeling to it. It's not like you're playing a sound that just gets piped into your ears. To me, that helps me practice better, which inspires me to play more and have more fun, and as a result, sound better in the end,
There you go. That's what it's all about, too. Yeah, the headphone stuff is great. If that's what you're restricted to, it's really come a long ways. But I agree. There's no substitution for the real thing. So,
isn't that the Coke slogan?
It's not a Coke? What?
Isn't that the Coke slogan? It's not the real thing? Or maybe it is the real thing. I think it is the real thing. Coca-Cola.
Okay. No, not cocaine.
Not cocaine. That's not a cocaine slogan.
Oh, I thought that was the cocaine slogan. Right, okay.
No. I would have no idea. It's probably like, I don't know.
It's probably like cocaine. Cocaine. It smells real nice.
Cocaine for whenever you just don't care about life. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one. Stand when you practice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why I would recommend that?
Well, yes, I do, because intuitively, I think most guys want to kind of sit down and chill while they're playing guitar. But if you're playing out, and you're a gigging musician, very, if you're in a rock band, you're probably not sitting down. I mean, so and you
Unless you're
pull
Leonard
you.
Skinner.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Don't didn't they do like some concerts where like a couple of them were sitting down or something? Anyways, bad joke. Bad joke.
Well, I did receive a suggestion one time in my younger punk rock days that if we really want to start selling tickets to shows, we need to get gimmicks. And one of the suggested gimmicks was that the guitar player needs to sit up on a ladder. So
That's terrible. That's terrible.
I'm not making that up. That was literally suggested to me and my friends that was one of the things we need to do. That, and we need to get a fan and attach some LEDs to the blades so that the spinning LEDs will mesmerize the audience.
Or give them some sort of convulsion.
Right.
One or the other.
And I forgot, this is like a rush of memories. And this guy's qualifications and why he could speak to this was because he had 12 years of amateur theater experience.
Well,
yeah.
There's something to be said for that.
Yeah, he was working as a machinist at the time. So take that and do with it what you will.
Amateur theater on the weekends, machinist by day. Yeah. I can understand that. Yeah. So with me, like this one actually, I mean, it's not really that I learned it the hard way. Is that I knew it. It bit me in the butt because I'd practice a lot, like sitting down in front of a computer. You know what I mean? Just like playing, whatever. I like to practice to loops a lot. I'll get in that later. But so I was always practicing sitting down, and then I'd go to play a gig standing up, and it was like nothing was working. It felt completely different, just because the guitar was at a different height. It was at a different angle. Like everything changed. Even the way I was like fingering different chord positions and stuff, it just totally changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I learned if you're going to play live, or if you're practicing to, let's say you're in a weekend band or whatever, and you're standing up during that, it's probably best to practice standing up as well.
Good tip, and something I stumbled upon accidentally. So I couldn't agree more.
My next one: play around the chord instead of a acrobatic exercise of a scale.
So instead of like shreddery, like playing around a chord. Okay.
Well, I mean, of course, keep in mind, this may be more applications for bluesy, non-shredding guitar players. So if sweeping arpeggios are your thing, skip right past that one.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, but like for me, in my younger days, especially when I was like, I'm going to show my age here, especially like late 90s, when I was really trying to learn like the Brent Mason stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was always told to practice scales, and so I was thinking like everything would be part of a scale, and then he'd play something. I'm like, what the crap? There's no scale with those notes. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And then I figured out like, oh, he's playing around the chord. Like those are notes that go good with that chord in that situation. And sometimes there's no right or wrong answer. Yeah, right or wrong note, rather. You could play a note that's not necessarily part of, let's say you're in the D position and you're in the key of D. And, maybe that one little note there isn't technically part of the D major scale. But it fits. It fits in the context of the song.
Right. Well, it's one of those things. It's like, what do they say about jazz players? Is they just play all the wrong notes.
Yeah.
But they're I mean, it sounds weird to like people, but it's actually technically correct. So maybe it's not in the D, major or whatever you're playing scale, but it could be part of a different technical scale, and that's why it sounds good.
Right.
So.
Right. So. So I like to play around the chords in mixing up parts of a scale with it. I mean, it's not like I'm just doing random notes around a chord. It's about melody and context and trying to say something rather than just being, you know what I mean? Rather
Mm-hmm.
than just my scale exercise that I learned at home. So yeah, that's that one. Moving on. This was a big one for me.
Okay.
And up until fairly recently, I actually hadn't been practicing it that much, and I refocused and have been working on it quite a bit, a lot, or
Okay.
quite a lot
A
lately,
bit.
quite a
Oh,
bit, a lot, yeah.
yeah.
And that's practice vibrato. And
Yeah.
and so what, I mean, sometimes you can hear, like, I always like to think like the guys that have really good vibrato, it's almost like a guitar maturity thing. You can tell who's been playing for a long amount of time, because their vibrato is deep and rich, and it's just smooth, and it's not like quivery, like sound, doesn't sound like, somebody had 14 cups of coffee before they're bending a note, right? So I don't know. It's hard to describe without showing sound examples, but I love just a really good, steady, deep, emotional vibrato. You know?
Well, it's one of those things that, like, I think the maturity factor is something that that's a good way to put it, because it's not something I touched, like, I didn't mess with until I started playing for, however many years it's been now. So, like, it's been a recent thing for me to actually start noticing that, and noticing the textures that it provides, and how it can actually make, liven up the same, you technically played the same thing, but you added
Yeah.
just the right amount of little love in there.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you, quite real, completely honest with me. Um, there was a friend of mine in Nashville. I first noticed his vibrato, and this is going to sound stupid, but it's been 3 or 4 years ago. And it was like during NAMM or something, and he hopped up on stage and sat in. Um, and his vibrato was just so perfect. And I never really noticed like that part of a person's playing that much before. And it got me thinking, like, wow, like, just he can play like 3 notes, and just the vibrato is perfect for the song.
Mm-hmm.
And then, with Travis Feaster, of course, he used to work for us and still gigs quite a bit. And just goofing around with him, and listening to him play, like, he's got a really great vibrato. And so I was like, dude, like, what are you doing differently? I mean, here's my vibrato. What are you doing differently? And he kind of broke it down. He's like, it's he's like, you're moving your finger. He's like, it's a wrist thing. It's not like a finger thing necessarily. It's your whole wrist is kind of pivoting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sat down, and like I said, I like to work to metronomes. Or in my case, drum loops. I prefer drum loops over metronomes, but still, it's a set time, right? And so I just started, like 80 beats a minute. You know what I mean? And I would just
Mm-hmm.
try to get very extremely steady. The same pitch up as down, same pitch up, down. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like more. It kind of seems calculated that way, but I was trying to build that muscle memory. And so then I got it. As I was speeding up and speeding up and speeding up. Now it sounds a little deeper than it used to. It's still not
Mm-hmm.
perfect by far, so don't get me wrong. I don't have it mastered, but it's something that, at least for me, it's something that I work on a lot. Just try to make sure that it's even. It's when I'm bending up, it's that same pitch. It's it's just. So I'm trying to like. I'm trying to not grasp. I'm trying to reach that point where it sounds like I have that guitar maturity about me.
Yeah.
You know,
Because, I mean, we all know we don't have any of the other kind of maturity, so we might as well try for one.
exactly. If nothing else, at least reach for guitar maturity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've found it's like now, I recently I've obviously played. Now, we're talking, now to be clear, we are talking about finger on the neck vibrato here, but I'm going to kind of sideways step a little bit. I recently got my first guitar that had a actual, vibrato arm, it's a mastery setup, and
Yep.
so I've been playing with that lately and integrating the two with
Yes.
a lot of especially with a lot of nice reverb,
Yes.
really makes for some interesting stuff. But
Well,
I think that may have came, like, maybe I got a hold of that a little bit sooner because I had hardtails forever. I don't know. I feel like I've been subconsciously. It's probably not perfect. Actually, I know it's not perfect because I'm not that good at it. But anyway, I don't know where I was going there. But
no,
integrating the two is
that's good
interesting.
because I mean I didn't bring that up, but that's actually a really good point. I was so bad at vibrato for a point in my life, especially my younger days, that I was relying on the tremolo or the vibrato bar, the wank bar, the gear shifter.
The
I
gear
was
shifter, yes.
I was relying on that for my vibrato. Like I would bend, let's say I'm at the 12, 13, 14, 15, 15th fret. That's a D on my B string, so that's a D, and I'm bending up to an E, right?
Okay.
So I would bend up to my E, and then I'd use the gear shifter and like, you know what I mean? I was doing it that way, which that is one way to do it. I like that sound as well, but it does sound differently than actually bending it on the neck. So I mean, if if I'm playing a Strat, I kind of do a combination of the both. I really do, and to be totally transparent here, I do a combination of the both because there's some notes that it's harder for me to do it on the fretboard than that's the only, like, there's no rhyme or reason yet to it. It's like, yeah, this one's hard to bend up and make it sound good. I'll use the wing bar on this one.
Well, for sure.
So, being totally transparent there.
So that's a good one. I like that.
So my next thing, I'm actually I have these aren't in any certain order, so I'm going to skip to the next one and then come back. The next one along with that is always practice. And I say practice, that doesn't necessarily mean jamming with your favorite song. Like, that's fun. When I say practice, like, that's like you're a basketball player and you're shooting free throws 100 at a time or whatever, right? So actually practicing, like whether it's vibrato or whether I'm learning a new picking technique or learning a new lick, practice it with a metronome. Or, like I said, I prefer drum loops. I use like GarageBand is super easy for me to do that with, just because it's quick and it's stupid simple to set up. You know what I mean? Doesn't use a lot of memory. You can also do probably like Audacity if you're on a PC and you don't have any DAW software set up, recording software on your computer. Audacity's free. You could probably set that up to loop. And I'm sure there's other ways too, but that's what I like to do. But if nothing else, download. You can also, on your phone, you can download apps that have drum loops and metronomes. I know there's free stuff because I have them on my phone too. Usually the free stuff doesn't have, like, for example, drums. It may not have a whole lot of different types of drum samples, but at least it's something that resembles a drummer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me, that just feels more natural than click, 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 pop, click, 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 pop. You know what I mean?
Oh, shoot me now. Shoot me now.
Right. So, yeah, I prefer the drum stuff. But anyways, the whole idea is to practice that stuff to a time, because whenever you develop really good timing, you could play the most simple part, but if you're dead on in timing, you're going to sound good. I mean, there's
I'm
a lot of
taking
people
notes because I have horrible timing.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, man. I've heard, like, to really be honest, like Brent Mason. Let me pick that name up here real quick. Pick that up off the floor. Yeah, Brent Mason actually proved that to me. He would play something, just in listening to what the stuff he would play, even on like radio. And I had the opportunity to like sit in the studio and watch him like record some of this stuff, and he would play simple parts a lot of the times, but they were always just right in that pocket, just dead on in timing. It fit perfectly. And even when you slowed it down, I would slow down the stuff, and with software, and it was just always just right on in timing. So it really made a big impression on me.
Oh, all right. I can't speak to this, as everyone may be painfully aware. I have the worst rhythm of all time. So
Well, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't dance. So yeah, if we're
Well,
talking about rhythm, I can't
well,
dance.
yeah. Like I don't know. That's like a huge weakness for me as a musician, and it's probably because I really don't spend any time doing what you just suggested. So, but I have noticed the
That's
more I play with my band,
yeah.
the better it gets. So obviously, you know,
Unless
versus
your unless your drummer doesn't practice
well,
to a time.
or maybe I'm just flowing with him, and then we're all over the place, and
Right.
it's okay.
Right. Exactly. So the one I skipped over is this: when you have learned a song, let's say you learned that brand new Silverchair song or whatever. I like to go to a place called it's called karaoke-version.com, and it's like $2.99 a song or whatever. But I'll purchase the song, and you can what it does is it makes multi tracks of the song, so you can pull out vocals, drums, bass, guitar, keys, whatever.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I'll pull out the guitar and I'll download that and then I'll play with that. So it's like the whole song without the guitar. And the whole idea being like if I'm playing, like let's say I'm practicing for covers or whatever for my weekend gig, then I like to play along with it, and I even like to record myself with it to make sure I'm filling up all those gaps and holes and make sure that it's sounding like it's supposed to sound. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's accurate. So I like doing that as well.
That's a fantastic tip. I love that one. I would have never thought of that.
That does, like I said, it's like I think it's like $2.99 a song or something. But to me, it's well worth it if you're really wanting to do it good. To really do it justice. And I'm sure, like I haven't really looked, but I know there are a few sites online that have like like guitar backing track. It was a guitarbt.com or something like that. That people have uploaded songs that they've downloaded, like using this karaoke service, and so you can sometimes find some of those songs without the guitar in them. But yeah, I figure if people are paying for our pedals, I'll pay for the song.
There you go.
That's kind of how I look at it. Okay, so this next one, I'm not sure how to demonstrate that over an audio podcast, but it's this. When you mess up, you can incorporate that into your playing. Now that means you can.
Oh boy, do I ever!
You could if you hit a wrong note, sometimes you can you can make it sound like you meant to, or make it bend up so it's like it was intentional. Or you could do my favorite a Brad Paisley trick, which is like you hit it and you own it, and then like you hit the back of the guitar and it slides up to the next fret. And you're like, "Yep, totally meant that."
Yep, on purpose.
Yeah, but I mean, you're hitting the back of the guitar, so like just the guitar, the whole guitar, you stay in place, the guitar moves up one fret. Does that make sense?
It looks it's super cool.
Yeah, imagine your hand staying in the same place and just the guitar moves up one fret, and it's like totally on purpose, man. Totally meant to do that.
That's right. I never mess up. I'm Brad Paisley. I've never messed up in my life.
When you mess up when you're doing solo stuff, what do you do? How do you recover from that?
I usually put the guitar down and walk away.
Cry in the corner somewhere.
Yeah. That's usually my best method for dealing with it. No, honestly, I don't solo very much, and when I do, if I mess something up, I'm usually got so much fuzz on that I can actually kind of like make it part of the performance, kind of like you said, and like, either do something kind of weird like that, or turn around and make that note like feedback if I'm standing close to my amp, and just kind of make it part of the performance. That's would be my method for dealing with that. If I was playing like loud, rowdy rock and roll, like I kind of like to. So.
Gotcha. Okay, so
kind of like make it like do the Kurt Cobain, like that guy played wrong notes constantly. You know what I mean?
Right.
And his career was wrong notes.
That became his style and his sound.
Mm-hmm. So you can make wrong notes work for you if you know how. If you kind of like you said, own it. Like,
Right.
Mine.
You would have never thought that. Yeah, this is when you're pointing to the guitar player in the back of the room, like you would have never thought to hit that note, would you?
That's right.
I got you on that one. You know,
The bass player's just shaking his head.
the bass player's just like, wait a minute, did we start the song? No, I'm kidding.
No.
I'm totally kidding.
Or, hey, why did you guys let me out of the band?
Exactly. Why are all these lights turning on and off at me? I don't understand.
Yeah.
No, I'm totally teasing to our bass player friends. Totally teasing you. Okay, so this next one is one of my favorites.
Okay.
Especially because I get stuck in ruts, like where just the muscle memory thing comes into play, and I especially if I'm soloing a lot, then I start playing some of the same types of solos. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes, yes.
And so I'm thinking, okay, how can I break out of this rut? How can I learn some new solo ideas? And one of the things I like to do is, and it really kind of depends what kind of band you're in, I think, or what type of music you're going for. But for me, like I like to listen to fiddle solos and figure those out on guitar as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to do that. I like to do that with steel. If I was in a blues band, maybe it's a saxophone or harmonica or something like that. You know, listen to the way those guys are phrasing things, their note choices, how their vibrato, like how they're bending the pitch up, all that stuff. And the other one is I like to practice, like if I'm playing against a song, I'll try to mimic exactly what the singer is singing. So the notes that the singer is singing, how he the breath in between it. Not that I'm, yeah, I mean the space. When I say the breath, the space that a singer would have between the notes. Same thing, how it's bending up in pitch, the vibrato, like just the phrasing of it, the timing of it. I think practicing melodies from those different types of instruments kind of gives you. It will lead you to new places that you hadn't thought of before on a guitar.
There you go. That was just lovely put. Like I can't add to that. There's a lot of this stuff I can't add to because I'm so guilty of not doing any of these things.
So but just think of me like chastising you
Yes.
during this. Like, here's how you screw up, Blake.
I was like, but I thought the solution was just to buy more pedals. I thought it was.
Like, stop buying pedals. No, actually, never, ever do that. But anyways.
never stop buying pedals. Do all this and buy pedals. Then you'll be the ultimate guitar hero.
Yep. So, okay. 2 more things. Or actually, 3 more things. The next thing is actually pretty simple. If you're stuck on something, just take a break. It could be 15 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, sometimes even the next day. Just take a break. Come back to it. Many times, if you're for whatever reason, if you want to call it subconscious or whatever, especially if you'll approach it kind of from a different angle, and sometimes it's easier, and you can figure it out easier, or you might just approach it from a whole different area where the thing that you couldn't, that was just eluding you earlier, now is easy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, it kind of goes back to like what my daddy always told me was, if it gets hard, quit. Oh, that's what you're saying, right?
When life hands you lemons, quit.
That's right. Just quit. Just quit. Just stop it.
I don't think that's not really what I was trying. I was more like take a break, kind of like
just give up. Forget about it.
Let's say you're arguing with your spouse and you're right. Right? You're right.
I always
She's
am.
wrong. She's wrong or he's wrong, depending on your preference. So your other significant other is wrong, but you're right. So, sometimes the things to do is just wait, give it a little bit of time, come back, then they'll see that you're right.
That's right.
This has been marriage counseling with Brian and Blake. Now,
so basically, what we've learned here today is when things get hard, quit, and you're always right, and your spouse is wrong. And that was the show for today. Thanks, folks.
It's around there, yeah, somewhere.
Yeah. That was the summation of this episode. Okay.
Right. The next thing I have is I mentioned Audacity before.
Yes.
You can.
You had the Audacity.
Yeah, if you don't have any sort of recording software, then you could download that for free.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a Mac, you have GarageBand already on there. Use that. That's pretty good. You can also there's also a place called the online tonegenerator.com/time-stretcher.html. And so what this allows you to do, this allows you to take a song that you can't figure it out at full speed. It allows you to slow the song down without changing key. That way you can figure out those notes that are just too fast for you. So, if you're struggling with that Yngwie Malmsteen passage, this is a good one for you.
As I often do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. In fact, that's actually how I learned a lot of the Brent Mason stuff from earlier in my years, is that I would slow it down and just try to figure out what in the crap he was doing.
Because sometimes it's really difficult to tell what exactly is happening.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that, because I tried to shred once and it was a bad thing. But back in those days, like, that was what I wanted to do. Is like I wanted to play like Yngwie.
I'm a terrible shredder. I've been playing since I was 7, so that's like 15 years. So
Right.
plus and minus a few.
You're my age, right?
I was at one time. I totally lost my train of thought. But you totally threw me off there. So,
but you've been playing a long time, and you realize you're not a shredder. Is that what you're getting at?
There it is. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Okay, so I realized that I am not a shredder in any way. For some reason, I am better at like chicken picking-y type stuff for whatever reason. Yeah. So, I don't know. That stuff comes easier to me.
I do have something to add to this, because when I would practice this, it was very beneficial. And it actually, you don't necessarily have to play, but I find it very beneficial to listen to different styles of music. And if you play along to them, even better. You know what I mean? This is kind of going back to mimicking different instruments, but like,
Yep.
I listen to a lot of like, kind of what's considered alt country, even though that's what country should sound like. And then like, pretty like aggressive.
Pitbull. Like Pitbull in Florida, right?
Pitbull and who?
Florida. Maybe a little Drake on the side, you know what I'm saying?
No, I don't. No Drake. I'm anti-Drake. Blake is anti-Drake. That guy.
You said listen to other types of music.
No, you can listen to, actually that's probably not, that's not a terrible idea. Because you're going to pick up different things that may be integrated. Now, I would have to force myself to sit down and listen to Pitbull, but I was more thinking, if you're listening to metal all the time, maybe it's time to listen to some Brent Mason or something,
I don't know. I kind of like I like me some Mr. Worldwide. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I'm so old, saying. I have no idea what you're even talking about.
Mr. Worldwide, Pitbull. Yeah.
I don't know a single one of his songs.
See, you need more Melbay and less eBay. Then that's what I'm saying.
So you're telling me that Pitbull is the answer to my musical struggles?
When you're stuck, you got to listen to other types of music. Pitbull is another type of music.
Well, it is another type of sound. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, that sometimes if I wasn't force-fed music I don't want to listen to all day, I would take this suggestion more seriously. But for those of you that aren't, sometimes listening to music you don't really dig that much, but maybe have an appreciation for, like, jazz or something, that could translate well, I would think, into some of what we're talking about.
See, totally honest here. I like jazz, mostly Miles Davis type jazz.
Oh yeah.
But I've never been able to cross that over into guitar land. Never. But
you don't think so?
But it's extremely relaxing to me to, especially like if I'm on a plane working, I'll put on some Miles Davis, brother.
You don't think any of that crosses over?
Well, no, I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm saying for me personally,
gotcha.
It hasn't. Like I can't. and maybe it's just the way my brain works. Like I haven't been able to use any of that in a guitar context, and it's probably just because like I really suck at anything jazz related. You know?
No, I can relate to that, but maybe you need to take your own suggestion and play along to some Miles Davis and try to make them horns into guitars.
I could, but I don't like the melodies that much. I mean, I know that sounds weird because I like Miles Davis. It's just
That's what I'm trying to figure out right now.
Yeah, I guess when I think of melody wise, it's harder. It needs to be something I can hum. That's what I'm looking for when I'm soloing. Especially if I know I'm going to be writing something and creating a guitar part, I want to make it something that one builds up to a point that tells a story, and the other thing is I want it to be something that you can hum.
Okay, I got that. That makes sense.
You know what I mean? And to me, jazz is like cool, but it's harder for me to hum it.
Yeah, it's not a hummer. It's not a humming type of situation. Well, yeah,
right.
No, it's not going to work. You can't hum
right.
it.
Right.
And that's the title of this episode. You can't hum jazz, son.
Okay, so here's the last one. It's kind of tied into some of the other stuff. I talked about playing around the chord instead of just like scale exercises. This is learn all the inversions of the CAGED system, CAGED. Bonus points if you can learn the other chords in between. But basically learn all the different inversions, all the different positions up the neck, so you can play. And actually, this goes for scales too. Learn all those different positions for all those scales, so you can play anywhere. Like this, put that stuff into muscle memory.
I
disagree.
I totally agree, because I at one time was making a very very large effort to not I don't know nothing about no cages and or whatever. I heard that cage free is the way to be, but
cage is it's CAGE, the open chords, right? CAGED. It's learning those chords up the neck.
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I mean? So, like if you're playing A, there's, like several different positions up the neck, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you happen to need to play an A flat, well, you just know where A is and you go down a fret.
Right. I was trying to make a joke, Brian, about cage-free eggs or something, and you ruined it.
Sorry, man.
Come on.
But in all honesty, we've got a couple people out there that are they don't like me, Blake, and it's upsetting me. It's hurting my feelings.
Is that because you say that animals should be in cages?
Well, no. I think it all started with the comment that I had on eBay. Comment I had on YouTube.
Did somebody knock down your star rating, Brian, and you're upset about it?
Exactly. It was a bad Tumblr post. Okay. No. And the question, he didn't like my guitar. I did a video the other day about how guitar picks change the tone, and he was like, "Duh, does an amp make a guitar louder? That should be your next video." And his username was literally, "This name is either restricted, too long, or contains too many invalid characters." That was his username.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So to you, Mr. This name is either restricted. I don't know if that's your first or last name, but
your parents need slapped if that's your name. I'm sorry.
He's just terrible. That's not memorable at all. That's terrible. Terrible name for a channel.
His poor teachers. And this name is restricted. Could you please come up to the front and give your presentation on guitar amps?
It's Mr. Contains too many invalid characters, okay?
Yeah. Woo. Okay, anyway, this guy says, does a guitar amp make what?
Yeah, because the video I did was, like I said, was demonstrating how different picks change the sound and how you play a little bit differently with a thick versus a thin pick or a thumb pick or no pick. And he obviously thought that was a completely stupid idea for a video, even though he has no videos of his own on his own channel, and said, how stupid, what's your next video going to be? Does an amp make a guitar louder?
Well, why don't you do that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't know how to answer it. I was like, well, I mean, I can do a video on that. I guess it kind of depends, like, where the volume's set, if the speaker's connected. I mean, whether the guitar's plugged in or not, whether the power's turned on, is your
Your
bypass
tube's any
switch
good?
on?
You know?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
is the volume on your guitar even turned up at this point? I mean, I can't answer your question without more information.
Yeah, but maybe
You
by
know?
amp, did he say amp or amplifier? Because that could be an electronic component. Maybe he's actually referring to that.
That's true. That's true. It could be.
So
Could be making a voltage reference. Yeah. Yeah.
maybe I think I'm done with him. I don't want to talk about him anymore.
Anyways, yeah. So, and that's all I've got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that.
So that's my 12 ways to improve your guitar tone and your playing without buying anything. Pretty much.
That is the most we've talked about guitar in one episode ever.
Well, there you go, Blake. This is something that's been near and dear to my heart, something I've been working on myself, and something that I would recommend to everyone out there.
And it's some stuff that I'm going to do too, because I don't do much of that. So, as I've repeatedly said on this episode, yeah, Brian, thanks for that.
Good stuff, man. I'll try that.
Yeah, I'll give that a go.
All right. So, well, if anyone has any questions or comments, make sure you email podcast@wamplerpedals.com or whatever Blake's is, like info at something or other.com.
Yeah, jeez. info@tonemob.com. Brian, we go over this every week, and it's like you're just trying to belittle my contributions to the show, which on this week, it's totally okay, because I didn't contribute anything besides wisecracks.
Info@myfirstpodcast.com or whatever it is. I don't know. Yeah, make sure if you're on Facebook, make sure you're a member of both the Wampler Pedals Tone Group and the Tone Mob Podcast page. Yeah. Right? Make sure.
There's a little Facebook group over there. We talk tone. We talk all kinds of nonsense.
Yep. If you feel like giving a review, make sure you put a good review in. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Mr. My Name's Too Long. Put a good review in for iTunes for us. That would help us help reach other people.
Yes, please.
And we may be skipping next week, though, huh?
I don't want to. I'm going to do my very best to squeeze in a recording, but I got a big bomb dropping next week, and I'm going to be.
Bombs are bad. They burn hot.
Well, this is a good bomb. It's a bomb of yum.
Oh,
actually, when's this episode coming out? Monday? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well then I can talk about it, because this episode's going to come out on the same day the bomb drops. Is that okay?
No, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Bombs tend to be bad. So
this is a good bomb, because it's a fuzz bomb. Boom.
Oh, I like the fuzz bombs.
Yes. So Brian knows about this, but I teamed up with Solid Gold Effects out of Canada, because they make really awesome stuff, and Brian said no, so I couldn't go to him.
Well, I don't really like you that much, to be fair.
Well, it's understandable. I don't much care for myself either. But since they're in Canada, they don't see me as often, so they don't know they shouldn't like me. But no, we worked on this project for quite a while, and there's a Tone Mob Fuzz coming out, the model 001. It'll be a super small production run, and if you go to any of the Tone Mob social media stuff or the web store or anything, you'll see it all over the place, because that's all I'm going to be talking about on Monday. So there you go.
Very cool, man. Very cool. So everybody out there, make sure you check that out. Blake, I hope it does really well for you, man.
Thank you very much, Brian. I really appreciate that.
I do. So with that said, well, you guys will catch us either next week or the week after, one way or the other, but we'll see y'all later. Thanks for listening.
Bye.